Welcome. This isn't the first one of these I've done. I think the very first time that there was a Meet the Candidate night in Van Alstyne at this facility, I had the opportunity to do this, and that's been several years ago. So, first off, I'd like to thank the Chamber for what they do to put together this event, so that you can be here and the candidates have an opportunity to answer some questions. Secondly, I'd like to thank Grayson College for the facility that they allow us to use and allow us to use, and I'd like to thank all of y'all for being here. But most importantly tonight, I would like to thank the candidates. And most often, we just want to criticize and point out the things that are not good. These people are dedicating their time, their energy, their dedication, their commitment to this community. And I think that is critically important as they answer these questions. It doesn't matter if you agree or disagree. What's most important is they are taking the opportunity to serve. And so it's something they can be examples to others. So I applaud all of y'all for taking the step to do this. All right. I know that y'all are interested in who the Cowboys are drafting, and I know you probably have invitations you're waiting on from the presidents in Dallas, but turn your phones off. Okay, is that a deal? Let's all take time. It's like the movies. Let's take time to turn our phone off. That's something that we should all do in respect for this. Y'all had a Meet the Candidate night recently, I think on April 4th, and I think that most of you know who these candidates are anyways, and we're going to avoid going through the introduction because I don't think we need to do that again. So we'll jump right into the questions. The questions were sent in by the citizens of Van Alstyne and vetted by a group of chamber members. So that's the list of questions we have tonight. I'm going to ask those questions and we'll randomly go through, and we'll try to do it in some kind of order that it makes sense to everybody sitting at the table. The less confusion, the better.
Sir?
Yes.
Could you, some of us weren't here before. I don't know some of these people. If they could just tell us their names so we would know.
I think that would be okay if you'll just go through and tell what you're running for, and that's it. Let's don't get into any bios, okay?
Betty Ann Salmon, and I'm running for the place of mayor of Van Alstyne.
My name is Timberly Kelly, and I'm running for mayor of Van Alstyne.
My name is Russell Moore, and I'm running for place 4.
Pat Patterson, place 4.
David Mott, place 4.
Bill Blake, place 5.
Melvin Barker, place 5.
Adam Wise, City Council, place 5.
All right, the first question, and being that the ladies are all on this end, it's kind of like a 6th grade dance. They all got here by themselves. Regarding the street tax proposition on the upcoming ballot, are you for or against? Please explain.
Okay. I am neither for nor against because I don't know enough about it to make a decision. I think that decision will be made by our residents. However, our streets are in horrible condition and there must be a solution to fixing those streets. And this is one of several. So each person is going to have to make their own decision regarding this.
Okay.
But we do need a solution, and this might be the right one.
Yes, and from the information that I have regarding this sales tax issue, I am for it. I believe that our streets are in serious condition and we need something short-term that's going to help us to make some progress toward correcting the streets. I think that the amount of money that this will increase the taxes for the residents, if it is a short-term proposition of 4 years, is something that may be doable. So that is what I do.
I'm for the proposition. My reasoning behind being for it is, number one, the city's done an outstanding job of cutting back as far as they can cut back in their budgets, really getting it skinny. And it comes down to simple economics. It's the biggest cry out from the city to really get the streets repaired. It is about the lowest cost to the average citizen that could be expected. And again, it comes down to simple economics. The money's got to come from somewhere. It's got to be paid for. Until we get businesses moving into Van Alstyne at a more rapid rate, this seems to be one of the best solutions.
Myself, I don't know that much about it, hadn't heard that much about it, because it seems like to me everybody, you ask somebody, nobody really knows, and nothing really has come out in the paper about it, but I'm neither for or against it. But I would like to see, definitely our streets need to be fixed, for sure. But I think that we still got other places that money could come from, beside risking people like me and some of these other people there. See, my taxes are frozen. And will this right here cause my taxes to go up? Can you tell me?
I'm just the moderator, Pat.
That's what I want somebody to just flat tell me that no, they won't go up if your taxes are frozen. And a friend of mine, I shouldn't say this, but a friend of mine checked with the city manager and he couldn't answer that question. So the money has got to come from somewhere. And like I say, I can't be for it against it, because I don't want to do anything that hurt myself and all other senior citizens sitting there.
Thank you, Pat.
I'm like everybody else, I'm for it if it suits the purpose right. If we fix the right streets, make them look better, make sure we don't waste our money. But we have to keep doing it over and over within a 6-month period or even a year. We get somebody that comes in and is going to fix the streets, make sure they're going to last for years, And if we tend to make the city grow, we're going to have to make it look better than what it does. Because I live on a street that I don't like driving down it either.
Billy?
I'm for it. The reason for being for it is because during the past, for many, many years on the council, they've never put money aside to do anything, as far as I can tell. They've never had funds to do streets, they've never had funds to do sewer, they've never had funds to accomplish any of their tasks. We're finally starting to put money away, designate funds, try to come up with money to actually start fixing the infrastructure of Van Alstyne. I think we've started that process with the water and sewer department. I think this is one way to help with the streets, and I think it very much is needed for the city to all of us sacrifice a little bit so that we can start getting some of the things fixed up.
I'm like some of the others. I haven't heard much advertisement about the pros and cons of the tax. I know that it was discussed, and I wasn't involved in finding out the details of the pros and cons. And I do know that the budget was cut, and the city done as much as they could with the budget cuts. And with that said, I know money has to come from somewhere. With the residential buildings going on, and it appears to be some of the businesses shut down for various reasons, there has to be money coming from somewhere. So with that said, with what information I have, it seems to be that would be a logical way to go.
Thank you.
Well, I'm definitely for the streets getting fixed, there's no doubt about that. They're in dire need, and that's been one of my biggest issues when I got into this. I don't think, though, not yet. I don't think we need to raise our taxes yet. I don't think we need to go after our taxpayers. I still know where there's some more money we can get our hands on. If we have to go and raise taxes, it ought to be at the least cost to the citizens there is. There's still some things we can cut back on. I'm not going to elaborate on them right now, but I know they are. And that's where I stand.
Other than approving budgets, setting or amending ordinances, and the hiring and review of the city manager, what do you see as your role, in your case, mayor, if elected?
I feel like the mayor primarily is a public relations type of position. I think that they do a couple of things. The first and primary thing is to communicate with the citizens regarding things that the citizens are interested in. The other thing is to promote the city. I feel like it's very important that Van Alstyne, is promoted outside of this area to those that would be interested in bringing businesses here, new residents here, to go out and to connect with other community organizations like TCOG, the Texoma Council of Governments, and the Grayson College Municipal Association and other organizations like that to work together to make Van Alstyne everything that Van Alstyne can be. And so that's primarily how I see it. I think I need to communicate very, very well with the residents to make sure that they understand what the issues currently are. I'd like to see us do some town hall meetings and some more types of communication like that, maybe more than we have in the past, in fact.
Thank you.
I believe the role for city council is to be a team. Citizens have voted in a number of individuals to work together to accomplish the goals that the city, members of the city, citizens of the city want. One of the things that we have on, that's one of the biggest concerns is the streets. Well, how is that going to be accomplished? The team, the city council works together as a team to come together to make solutions, to find the solutions to remedy these problems or find solutions for these problems. It can't be one-on-one. It's got to be a team effort, because at the end, there's going to be a vote on how it's going to get done. So I see each city council person working together with their fellow city councilmen to come to solutions that meet the benefit of the city itself.
Russell? I completely agree with Russell in a way. I think what we've had is people not really working together. And I'm a kind of city councilman, at least I always have been, and I served a long time before this last 12 years I've been on. And we work together, and some of the votes that I read in the paper, where it's 2 here and 2 there, and the mayor breaks the tie, that's no good for a city. It's like Russell said, you've got to work together. And what I always look at my city council seat as is these people out here hired me to do a job. I always looked at my seat as a job. And I'm going to try to do the best job that I can. I've always tried to do that. If I'm elected, that's what I'll do again, regardless of who it hurts. I'm going to work for the poorest people in town and richest people, because I don't work for no special person nor no special group, and I never have.
Thanks, Matt. David?
I'm basically the same way as the other 2 candidates here. I believe the city council needs to get along, work together, be able to communicate with people in this town, the citizens, work with them. There's a lot of problems that needs to be taken care of. You know, you're not going to make everybody happy when you first start off, but you're going to have to just communicate with people in the town and have them understand what you're doing, and you might get to their problem later, but you've got to take priorities as they come.
The most important thing that I have as a councilman to do is to be the voice of the people I represent. And that doesn't mean just the people that voted for you, that means the whole city. That means that everybody can ask you questions, can find out answers to questions, can present their problems to you, and you'll go try to find a solution to their problem. It will not always be what they want, but a lot of times it will be. And so that's number one. The other thing is to support the city staff, to make sure they know that you've got somebody on their side, that somebody that they can talk about things to, that they can try to do their job better. And if you're talking to them and cooperating with them, then you have a chance to advise them and direct them in going the way you want the city to go. Thank you.
I want to bring unity back to the city council because it's the outward public response that the city council gives to the outward people. I know that if you want a business to come into a city, you want that company to feel confident in the city council on making decisions. I see a lot of discontent, and outwardly, I believe that the city council has hindered some businesses, even residential, coming back into the town, because people want to know that their city's run properly and they get along and they can make proper decisions in a timely manner. I think there's been a lot of, as said, tie votes, and granted they were a member of the council out, and so they had to be tie votes broken by the mayor. And I believe that the to get more businesses in, to get more residential people in, to have a higher tax base, is to make people feel confident about the council. And that's what I'd like to see change.
Thank you. Adam?
I believe the primary role of the city council is to represent the people that put them in there. Your first concern is what will best best way to serve the people. They are the number one reason why the city is here. All the city employees, they work for you guys. You don't work for them. And I believe that the city council, other role he's got is to be financially responsible when it comes to the city budget and make decisions that best support the needs of the people in the community.
All right, thanks, Adam.
I believe the position of the mayor is one often seen as the direction of the city, someone who represents the city, someone who is able to work with the different entities for the county as well as the city. And I have done this in the past with TCOG and the other entities. I also believe that I guess we can say she is looked up on for public relations. But actually, public relations isn't just the mayor. These people out here are the ones who have the public relations for the city. Because if the residents are happy, and you can't please them all, but if the majority are, then your city's going to grow. So it isn't just enough for the council to get along, but it's needed for the city to also get along. And I would like the opportunity to be a mayor for all of Van Alstyne and promote unity. And I think in the past I have proven that I have the time and the devotion for the city of Van Alstyne to be their mayor. Thank you.
The next question, I think I'm going to maybe steal a little of your thunder and maybe take away a common answer, but I think we all should look outside as we drove up, and there's a 20,000 square feet expansion of this campus going on. What does that tell you about what's happening, or what the Board of Trustees of Grayson College thinks is about to happen? So, saying that, the next question says, Russell, we're going to start with you this time. We're just going to go down the aisle. That's okay. What do you consider Van Alstyne's greatest marketing asset in attracting retail, manufacturing, or residential growth in the next 5 years, and how can we capitalize on it?
Well, our number one asset's our location. We're halfway between McKinney and Sherman, and coming from a developer's perspective, being right on the Highway 75, it's on that corridor, but you're drawing from Gunner, you're drawing from Whitewright and Westminster and Howe, Anna. You have a great circumference of citizens that can be drawn to this area. We also have what some of our other surrounding towns don't have, is a downtown. Downtowns historically, historic downtowns historically also create business, and there's an attraction there with developers and whatnot. And again, seeing it from a developer's perspective, we are sitting in a prime location, and to keep that sense of that we have the will to take care of businesses and its citizens is going to help people and people with money, investors and developers, to want to come here. And right now, this is a very prime area. And like you said, this is an example right here that Grayson County College, they know that. They see that this is going to be the next area to take off.
I think Grayson County College was a heck of addition to Van Alstyne. And I would like to see some more large entities like that come in. And we had a chance to get a few that something happened here in the city that they just run off. I mean, and to just name a few, John Deere House, it would look really good right there where it's supposed to be. And also Alvyson would look good in this town. I mean, not Alvyson, but Brookshire. But something happened, and I don't know what happened. It happened after I got off city council. And I don't know whether we friendly, but we gotta be friendly to people that wanna come in here. And the main thing we gotta do is fix our infrastructure and our streets and stuff like that to draw people in, because when you bring businesses in, you're gonna bring people in to work those businesses. And they don't wanna run down streets like we got in respect in the old port town.
Thank you.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yes, Dave?
I'm like Russell, I agree, we are in a good location. Colleges is seeing that, and that's why they're moving, expand, make it bigger. You know, we're in a great area, because people in Dallas, you hear all the time, we get tired of the traffic, we get tired of driving 60 miles to work. People in Oklahoma are driving that far. If we're bringing businesses in, they'll stop here, they'll want to move here sometimes, come to work here, they'll spend their money, hard-earned money here. You know, and then the word will get out, people will spread the word. Word of mouth is the best advertisement you can ever get. And people that are satisfied with what they see in this town, that's why we need to improve it, to make it look better. And we can draw businesses. You know, we've got an ideal spot. Why give it to Anna? Why give it to Hal? We can do it here too. You know, I've seen McKinney grow, but everything was growing up north. So I think we're primed. We're ready to grow if it does.
Mainly, I believe the same thing. Location is very important. Being along a main highway like we are here. One thing I think that the city has done in the not too distant past was when they got gas line put over to this side of the highway. I think that will help in growth. I know it helped the college. And it was a good cooperative effort between the CDC, EDC, Atmos Energy, the college, and the city. All chipped in a certain amount of money to help it be completed and bring the gas over here, which I think is very important to the expansion of business on this side of 75. I think that having caring people in the town is a good thing for bringing people into this community. If they get to meet some of the people, to discover how much what kind of nice people they really are. That was one of the reasons I moved here, because of nice people. Strong police and fire department. We have a very good ambulance service. We have a very good fire department. We have a strong police department. All those things, when companies are looking at towns, are all important to them. What is their protection? What kind of stuff does the city provide? We have a friendly staff. I know that's hard for a lot of people to believe, but I think over the period of time, we've changed a lot of staff members, and we've come up with a lot more friendly staff and a lot better people to deal with and work with. And I think that's something that will help us in the future. We also have a stronger EDC and a stronger CDC, that they're going to do more things for trying to get the businesses coming in and development coming in. And also, as you can see, we are getting things going again, because Georgetown is going again. The new developer out there has built, I think, about 15 to 20 houses in the last 3 or 4 months. So we're headed the right direction now. We just got to continue with it.
I can only relate on why I come to Van Alstyne. I've worked in Dallas 29 years, and I've lived in various small towns in Grayson County all my life. And I would read in the paper about the police department pulling over criminals, drug busts, how they were keeping their streets safe. I would read about how Van Alstyne's school system is one of the best ones in the area. I'd see the college when it first got built up. It's growing. You can see Van Alstyne growing. That is why I wanted to bring my family to a place that I knew that was going to prosper and grow. I knew I didn't want to go to Collin County because of the higher tax bracket, so I stayed as far south in Grayson County as I could to stay in the lower tax bracket. So I see a lot of promise for Van Alstyne. I see growth, because the first thing that people ask me, why did you move there? I tell them, I said, we have some of the nicest people. We have a great police and fire. We have a college where our kids can grow. And because anybody that want to come here, they want to know what kind of town, because they don't want their family to be, in harm's way. And when they know they have those basics and they see that we have grocery, we have various places to eat, and they see the possibility to, with the lower things to, what am I trying to say? They don't pay the high prices that Dallas has. We make it livable here. All of us do. And it takes a cooperative effort to do that. People love coming to our town, love talking to us people, and love the downtown as well, to keep the rustic downtown. But yet they see growth. They see new houses being built. So they know that we're not just sitting in dead water. That's what I see for Van Alstyne. I see growth, and I see a possibility.
Van Alstyne, being in the North Texas area where it's is in a remarkable spot for growth. We've got the US 75 running right through here. It couldn't be in a better location. Probably going to have the DART, when it moves on up north, it's going to come right through Van Alstyne. The rail's going to come. As a matter of fact, it's going to empty out probably be a DART station right in the middle of town someday. I believe we need to really work on our downtown area and tear down all the obstacles we can to get new business in here. I travel all over, and I see a lot of towns a lot smarter than Van Alstyne, with not near the resources we have in our downtown area that we could actually put downtown and start having restaurants. So with a downtown like that, there should be something going on every weekend. I mean, there ought to be 10 restaurants down there with some kind of activity going on every 2 or 3 times a month at least. I'm for supporting getting behind the Chamber of Commerce and trying to promote business to get them in here. Start putting on events such as maybe cook-offs. I don't know. There's just so much opportunity right here that we need to capitalize on. But we have got to get these businesses in here because it's there. It's there. We ought to take advantage of it because we are in the prime spot here in Van Alstyne in this area. Thanks.
We are in one of the greatest locations. We couldn't choose a better location. We have the college, and we don't want to forget, we also have an industrial park where we can lure in some industry that will help us be beneficial to the town. We look at our downtown, and we have more history in this town than the majority of the small towns in this area, and we need to work to preserve that. Right now, we have about 7 buildings for sale in the downtown area that are empty. We need to spend some time not just attracting new merchants, but working with the merchants that we have and bringing in business to support these that are already here. So we need to combine the new along with the old in this town. But as far as the plus on what we have going for us, I cannot think of a town that has more than we do to offer a great place to raise your children, to have your business. It's the location, and I see a good future for our city. Thank you.
I moved to Van Alstyne a little over 3 years ago now because of the fact that it had a really easy commute to the Metroplex where I was planning to work. I think that Van Alstyne is one of the cutest towns in this whole area. I think the other thing that really attracted me is the cleanness and the quaintness of the town, and I love the downtown. In fact, I like the downtown so much that I make sure that I shop down there, eat down there, bring my friends over, participate in the businesses there. I also have begun the process of seeing if we can get a Texas Main Street designation for our downtown, which will allow us to receive grants and work together with the state and the Historic Society in order to upgrade the buildings that we have there and beautify our downtown. I think it is a jewel and a major draw, and I totally agree with everyone else that this is something that we can polish up and promote. When Pam Gossick is the individual that's selling D.R. Horton homes, and I found out that she had not been downtown, I said, you need to come down and not just sell D.R. Horton and not just sell Georgetown, you need to sell Van Alstyne. And I do this frequently with my friends. I have friends that are coming from Prosper, McKinney, and other cities to shop, to go to the doctor, to get their cars repaired, to go to the dentist, the chiropractor, etc., because of the fact that we have this fantastic jewel of a downtown. In addition to that, I think the other thing is we've got an awesome school district. Dr. John Spees was hired 2 years ago. He is upgrading the schools. I know it's been a painful and a challenging process, but I can tell you, having a senior in the high schools, that is excelling right now because of the schools that we have. Our middle school was just named an exemplary status. That is a real testimony to what Dr. Spees is doing for our schools and our children. And I think that individuals that are looking to move to Van Alstyne, young families in particular, even young couples that haven't started their families, are going to be looking at the school district. So I think these are the things that are primary, other than our location, for Van Alstyne.
Given that we have changed city managers frequently, will you support and work with the current city manager?
I will try to work with anybody. Only thing that I know for sure, I don't know this for sure, but you know how talk is in Van Alstyne, and everybody knows that. How could we say city manager, and I'm hearing, everybody else is hearing, that we haven't sent him to school 2 or 3 days to learn how to be a city manager? I'll try to work with anybody, I always have. But what I want to do is for them to be nice up there, and go along with this chart that was in our packet, where number one is citizens. Citizens called up there, they get talked too bad and stuff like that, and I don't like that. And then the city council's next, and they telling me that our city hall is pretty much running itself. I don't know. I don't have no trouble up there, but I can get along with, what's his name, Baker, or anybody else that's doing the job that us citizens are paying for. But I don't think that we ought to have nobody working with this city that's not qualified, and we have to send them to school. Now, if he's going to school, that's what the town thinks. So I don't know for sure. So that's what I say. I can try to work with Mr. Baker, but I want him to be, and anybody else, qualified, because I think I worked with at least 6 or 7 city administrators, and I worked with at least 1 or 2 city managers. And we didn't have no trouble because we thought of the people first, just like his church. His choice says citizens, and then we listened to all the citizens, seeing what they want to do, and then we made sure the council that the city staff, everybody down here, they done what the citizens want to do. And I'm hearing that that's not going on now.
I've heard good and bad about our city manager. I don't know him personally, and I'm not going by what people say, because he said, like, I guess you would say a police officer, you got to send them to school so they'll know what they're doing. When you first start out, you want to know what's going on, you want to make sure you're going to the right schools. I can work with the city manager. I can basically try to work with anybody if we come to an understanding of some things. We're not going to agree with everything, but we have to come to an understanding that we understand each other, you know what I'm trying to say. I'm really nervous. You know, I haven't had a problem with him because I've never met him, like I said, but I've also not had a problem with City Hall. Every time I've gone out there, everybody's already been nice to me and everything else, so that's about all I have to say about it.
I was part of the people that elected him, so I hope I agree that he's a good city manager. I think he's been doing a good job. I think he does have the education to do it. He had the degree, a college degree of city management before he ever took the job of city manager. He is still taking some more continuing education. I don't see any problem with him getting more educated and knowing more about what's going on. We've had too many city managers. I think it's time to settle down, let them run the department, let them figure out how they're going to do things. We're still there as a council to advise them and to direct them and to make sure that they're not mistreating the public. I haven't heard of any problems with them mistreating the public since they've changed all the positions and staff. So I think that it's a good thing that's going in the right direction, and the more that the city, this council and mayor can stay out of it, the better off the town will eventually be.
I've met Frank. He seems like a very personable individual. He seems very qualified at what he does. I know I wasn't involved in the hiring of him, but a council did review his qualifications, and they determined that he was fit for the job over other candidates. He wasn't probably the only one, so they looked at other people as well. Now, as far as his training is concerned, kudos to him if he wants to keep on going training. That means he has a drive to get better. That's what we want in that place. He seems a very knowledgeable when I've talked to him, and I have no problem with the idea of working with him. In fact, I kind of look forward to it. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't really know Frank, and don't really, one way or the other, as long as he's treating the citizens right. Seems to me there's been some issues with him. Got a few ordinances in place, and I don't know if they were passed by the city council or whatever, but it says that it discourages businesses from coming in here. But I can work with anybody. I don't know why we go through city managers, but I do know. I think we start them out, We've got too many people that's on there now, I think, to try to run Van Alstyne like we're 20,000 people. We're not. We're 3,000 people. And we're eating up all of our tax money to high salaries. I'm sorry, but I just don't think a city manager's worth $100,000 a year in a city of only 3,000. I believe we could get one for 70, 60, and put that money back into our infrastructure. There's just too much money going in different directions. But he's in there, we need to work with him, and yeah, I can work with him. But I believe that's why we keep going through two city managers, because we're starting them out at too high of a rate. Thank you.
I have had very few dealings with Mr. Baker, but I do believe that the city manager form of government is the right form of government for the city of Van Alstyne, and I can work with that type of government. So I am hesitant to say for an individual that I do not know that well. I have heard both pros and cons. I don't think that when I go to City Hall, I do not have a problem. And I don't think you're not always going to be satisfied with everything that comes along. So you have to go with what is legal, what is not legal, and I have not had any problems with the legal questions that I have asked. So, and I will reiterate, I do believe that this is the correct form of government. And I do believe that the city does better when it has one city manager, and that is on a continual basis. And I hope that that is what Van Alstyne has. Thank you.
I like Frank Baker. I've gone out of my way since he was placed in the position of city manager to get to know him, to talk with him about city issues, to ask him what his plans are. Whenever an issue comes up like this tax issue or things about the streets or other infrastructure questions, I actually go in and talk with him about that. I like the answers he's given me. I found him to be very knowledgeable. I trust the city council, and the city council did elect Frank to be our city manager. I understand that he was completing his master's degree, and I have to do a lot of CE for my investment advisory licenses. I'm constantly learning new things. I want to be bettering myself. And I'm very glad that Frank is taking the opportunity to do that. That benefits all of us. I don't think it's possible in some of the roles that he's been in the city to know everything there is to know about managing a city, but I can tell you this from getting to know him, that he knows a lot about running a city. And I'm proud of Frank for taking this on, and I think he makes a great city manager, and I will work with him and support him as we go forward as a city.
Russ?
Well, I have had the opportunity to work with Frank for several years, predominantly because I'm in the development and construction industry. And Frank has always been very easy to work with. You can sit down with him, you can go over your concerns, he will work things through. The good thing that he brings to the table as city manager is that he does it by the book. As the fire chief in this town, as many of y'all know, fire chiefs and fire marshals are drilled into doing it by the book. And it's very important in today's day and time with risk management that you have somebody that's responsible enough to be able to tell you no instead of trying to make a deal that isn't legal. And he's always been very professional in doing that. He has been able to tell you, no, you can't do this because of this. And that's what we need. We need somebody that has the understanding. We need somebody that can work with individuals. He's always worked with me. I've never had a confrontation with Frank. He's always answered my calls, returned my calls. I couldn't think of a better person to work with as city managers because I've actually worked with a lot just being in the development industry. So yes, I would definitely work with our city manager.
What is the biggest change you want to see in Van Alstyne, and how will you work to bring this about?
Well, the biggest change, just like everybody else, we want to see the downtown area expand, bring more businesses in, make sure we talk to the city manager, see what we can do about it, getting our town advertised. You know, you see advertising on TV all the time about White Ride. They're always advertising they're having movies down there, or they got a movie theater, or they having specials for the roses or their wines. You know, we can start doing some stuff like that too and advertise our city so we can start bringing other businesses in. And once we get our other businesses in and people start coming in, then we can start growing from there. You know, Van Alstyne can grow from the surrounding towns. Why should we let them have what we can have? Have them come to us. That way we can use their revenue to increase our city, to fix our streets instead of having to raise our taxes. You know, there's a lot of resources out there besides our city, and we need to bring it here. Thank you.
The biggest thing I would like to see change in Van Alstyne is the attitude of the people. Is the attitude of the ones that are against everything that happens in the city, against everything that anybody comes up with. I'd like to see more people listening, learning, trying to understand about what the city's doing, why they're doing what they're doing, expressing their opinions. I have no problem with that. Coming and talking to the council. It'd be nice to have 50 people at the council meetings instead of 4 or 5 that we usually have. Just so that we would know what the real opinion of all citizens, not those. You get the opinions. There'll always be in every town the opinion of 4 or 5 that you get all the time. But I want the opinion of the rest of the people too. I want to know what they think, what they want us to do, what direction they want us to go. And I think only if the attitude of the people have got to change for this town to grow. They can't always be against everything or trying to put down whatever the city does.
I think the biggest thing I'd like to see is growth is coming, no matter what. We can't slow it, it's coming. I believe that I'd like to see more residential come in for a higher tax base that we can build our infrastructure with. I'd like to see more businesses come in. I'd like to see a grocery store of some sort, more bigger than what we've got already, and bring in, things that would want residents and businesses to come in. Because it takes that kind of growth to build the tax base for the money and the revenue to make this town a lot growth in the way it ought to go. And I think by doing that, it takes the people as well as the leaders of the town, city council, EDC, CDC, make that happen. And by bringing the unity back to all involved, I think that is a big step to do. Thank you.
Adam?
I'd like to change the public perception of our city government to a more positive one. Make it more transparent, more friendly to the people that it serves. Such as why is why is City Hall closed every day from 12 to 1? You know, somebody needing to conduct business on their lunch break, that might be their only opportunity to get up there and get something done on their lunch break. Also, I want to see, I'm with them, once again, we got to get in here and start promoting more business. Got to make, like I said before, we've got to tear down some of these obstacles so we can start getting new businesses in here. You know, we've got this, all that downtown area down there that's just empty buildings, and there's a couple city ordinances in there that, well, one of them, they was talking about today, a business was trying to come in, and the city was going to make them put in a fire sprinkler system. It's going to cost over $60,000 to get it going. Well, naturally, that discouraged them. They didn't put the business in. You know, we could change that up, make it a little bit easier on them. But yeah, I definitely want to see more businesses come in here, you know, and change like I said before, change the downtown to there's a thriving businesses down there. Thank you.
I agree with with everything that has been said here tonight. There are so many things that we can do. I look at the audience, and we live in a town of over 3,000 people, but tonight we only have like 36 people in the audience. I would like to see our residents become more involved and become more a part of a unity in this town. And one of the things that really bothers me, and I would like to see us spend more time and thinking about our young people. Where do the young people go in the evenings? We have wonderful churches, we have wonderful organizations, but as a city, we have not spent much time in providing for those young people. We have provided parks and sports, but as far as what are they do, is there a place that they can go? There's no boys club, there's no girls club, there's no place for these students, the young people of Van Alstyne. And I would like for us to zone in on that and see if we can't take care of that problem, because that has been a problem in Van Alstyne, not just now, but in the past. I would also like to see us start really stressing the businesses in the downtown area and become business, and not just business, but business and builder friendly. And because we get businesses, but let's start trying to keep those businesses that are there and support them in a unified manner. Thank you.
Well, when you're last on this question, or am I, or you?
Actually, you're not near the end yet. You have 7 more.
Okay, anyway, a lot of what I would say I would like to see change has already been stated. And so I'm going to start by saying this, that there is a lot I would not change about Van Alstyne. I think one of the most wonderful things is the friendliness of Van Alstyne. I love the quaintness of Van Alstyne. I do believe that we can do a much better job as far as communication goes. I would like to see us have some type of a centralized communication network here. I have also begun to think through what new residents need, communication regarding new residents when they first come in, some type of a packet, similar to what the Chamber of Commerce gives out to individuals, except that that is only for the chamber businesses. And I would like to see something that tells residents where they can go to find certain things, what do they need, what are the schools like, how do they get involved, some type of place where all of the organizations, churches, school districts, city departments, etc., can post functions, so we always know what all the events are all the time in one place, and a way to get that information out to all of the citizens. We think electronically in this age. I think that's real important, using text, using emails, having websites, but we also have citizens that don't have access to those items. I spoke to a lady on Sunday afternoon, she doesn't have internet. And it's like, so okay, now how do we solve that problem? And talk about maybe some changes as far as transparency, town hall meetings, giving their residents, maybe even like on a quarterly basis, the opportunity to sit down and hear what's going on in the city, understand the tax initiative, for example, that's about to be on the ballot, know what we're doing with water, sewer, and street prep, upgrades, those types of things. So I think communication is probably the other thing that I would want to change, and those are some of the ways I'd want to do it.
Thank you. Russell?
Well, the biggest thing that I want to change is moving forward in a positive nature, but to work with our city personnel, our city staff. I have spoken to them and many of the business owners around town, and one of the things that I hear is people really want to see our city council, our mayor, to not only work together, but to work with them. And when you have your city staff constantly scared of what somebody's going to say, how some councilman or mayor is going to beat up on them, they can't do their job effectively. They can't sleep at night. They can't think straight. And they need to be given the confidence and the support in a positive nature that allows them to do their job at the best of their ability. I think a lot of us have heard the old saying, you get more with sugar than you do with salt. It's true. I've had a lot of employees, and I've worked under a lot of bosses. And I'll tell you, all of the bosses that were just pricks, they didn't get a lot out of their employees. The bosses that encouraged and supported, they got more work and more dedication from their employees than anybody else. And that is what I want to bring to the table. This is something I can do personally. We can all dream together, but one thing that I can do personally to help change some things is give support to help our city government run in an efficient and effective manner.
I agree with a lot of people, especially in this Russell here, but you said, like Adam said, being transparent. Being transparent. We got a lot of people here that I think some people don't realize that don't have access to the internet. So we have got to be a city that gets out, for an example, one big example, and I've had a lot of people, seniors that supported me all the time I run before, asked me, Pat, why did they go up on the water bill and didn't tell us about it? We should know about stuff like that before they go up. I mean, a lot of people here in this town, even me, $20, $21 hurts when you're not expecting to come, especially you're going to fix income. So I would like to let somebody, the city manager, whoever needs to do it, be more informed about what's going on besides just depending on the internet to tell everybody. Because I'm seeing a lot of people right here, right now that I know that probably don't even have the internet. I got it in my house, but my kids and grandkids and great-grandkids use it. Not me. Don't have time. And that's it.
Okay, what I would increase is I would start putting more money away. Now, I gotta come up with the money, but I would start putting more money away in the fund to start fixing the streets and the infrastructure. That is the number one function of the city, number one thing they ought to be working on, more important than practically anything else they do. I would, how I would get more money for it is, I don't know if anybody knows that much about it, but in the past, the police department and fire department have both been real good at raising extra money. The fire department came up with a scheme to where, I'm saying a scheme, not really. The fire department came up with a method to, when they make deliveries when they take somebody by ambulance to a hospital, that they would have somebody to bring back to a nursing home or bring back home or do something like that. They set up contracts with different hospitals to do that function. By doing that, they didn't keep running empty all the time. Also, every time they pick up somebody at the highway that is in a car wreck, there's very little likelihood they're ever going to collect any money for it. Insurance companies don't pay that well, so they very seldom ever get it. But if the one that they deliver back, those they almost always get. So therefore, they were able to put $400,000 or $500,000 additional back into the budget. Now, since we've done that, a lot of other places have determined that that's a good way to make money. So now a lot of the hospitals have their own ambulance service, so that they do their own thing, and we don't have a chance to bid on it or be in a part of it. But they're still doing some of it. That was one method. Another method that it was a lot of people don't like was the patrolling of Highway 75. But that was offered to us by the state to actually, they would help pay our expenses to go out and patrol 75 because there were too many accidents, too many speeders, too many people getting killed. Since they did it, the number of accidents went down, the number of people killed, everything was good out of it. A lot of people don't like us patrolling that highway, but it still has been a good thing, and it raised money for the city, and a bunch for the state, because they get the first shot at it all. So they get it out of it. So those are the kind of things, I think what we need to do is the council themselves and the department heads need to start thinking about things like that we can do again. There's more ideas out there, there's more plans, we just need to take the time and effort to do it.
Not being involved in the past budgets, I would, if I want to give it a budget, I would try to evaluate, can you hear me now? I try to evaluate where the money's going, where it's not going, and like Billy said, I would also try to allow the departments to figure out best ways to initiate some income through their department. They're the most qualified to determine this kind of information. We're not. We're there to help them make these decisions. It's the people in these departments, the police, the fire, the ambulance service. They know their own areas and where they can cut themselves or where they can increase the revenue for our town. So I would look at all those kind of issues like that, and I would depend on all the input from the various departments to make a rational and a logical decision on budget. And that's what I would have to do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, the first thing I would want to increase would definitely be more money spent on the infrastructure, street repair. That's definitely what I'd increase on. And I guess looking on decrease, you probably need to look into maybe, I don't know, some of the other stuff in there, maybe like some certain things that are in departments that might not be necessary, that really may or may not benefit the people. I don't know. You might want to look at the communications department. There might be something there we could cut back on to put money back into our infrastructure. But that's about all I got to say about that.
All right.
Well, I think the first thing that you would have to do when viewing the budget, keeps this. The first thing you would do is you would have to go to the department heads because they are the ones that know what their needs are. I think the finest example we have in Van Alstyne of ways to raise money is our Friends of the Library. I think of the library and the time that the volunteers have spent raising money, supporting the library. It is a continual thing they do on a monthly basis. It is a great way, and if we might encourage auxiliaries for the fire department, the police department, and it helps. It gets people involved. It gets them out. And if you haven't been to one of the breakfasts for the Friends of the Library, you've really missed something. So they're a prime example of how we can bring more money in to the different things without putting the stress on the taxpayers. Thank you.
Yes, I think I might have been one of the only citizens of Van Alstyne that actually attended at least one of the budget meetings when our city council and department heads got together in the early fall to talk about the budget. And I can testify what a painful process it was for them to trim that budget, current budget, back to the bone for 2012 and 2013. They took a good hard look. I know that there were things on their wish list they had hoped to do in this year that they were not able to do, that they had to place to the side. In addition to that, there were many areas that they had to cut. I think at this point in time that I don't really know that there would be anywhere either that I would be able to cut further if I was thinking about the budget. As far as, increasing the revenue, I think that, our ambulance service is something that we can continue to try to contract out with other cities close by. I think we've had contracts in the past that were really efficient for the city to bring extra income in, and I think that we do have to look for ways to raise revenue. I think one of the biggest things is to draw businesses, draw residents, bring rooftops, increase that property tax, increase the sales tax, and get the revenue the city needs in here.
I've reviewed the city with its budget and everything. They've worked the past, since the economy went down, they've really struggled with making a lot of trimming in the budget. And I do know at looking at our departments, they've trimmed back. I mean, we're super skinny. In fact, our police department on average is smaller than it actually needs to be. But Tim has done a good job. They've got agreements with Anna and Hal to help each other out. So they're coming up with some good ideas to still make things work. Unfortunately, we're growing, and we're still going to have to perform these same duties. So making cuts from where we're at just is going to be I don't see it. What I do see is the need to bring in the money with economics. That means we're going to have to find ways to get the businesses in here to increase our tax income into the city government to be able to fund what we need to do. Our streets and infrastructure, we could double our budget and still not fix everything with our streets and infrastructure, and the only way that that's going to be accomplished is through growth and tax revenue. So it's either bring these businesses in and get that tax revenue, that way keep the tax dollar, sales tax in Van Alstyne versus going to McKinney and Sherman, or raise our personal taxes, and I don't think any of us want that. So I think, to me, the logical option is we need to work hard at getting these businesses in here so we can increase our budget.
Yeah, I think Teddy Ann hit the nail on the head about the library. I think when myself and her served before, seemed like to me that library was one of the lowest paid jobs in the city of Van Alstyne. And as far as I'm concerned, it ought to be the number one paid job in the city of Van Alstyne. Number two, we got to look at a lot of things now. A lot of people say police budget, public works budget, this and that. But I just want people to think. We got a sheriff up there in Grayson County. Sheriff of all of Grayson County makes $80,000 a year. And before our other chief left, he's making $101. Something's wrong. Keith Gary don't make $80,000 a year. Now how could a man in a city of less than 3,000 make $100,000 a year? And I don't know what the city manager stuff in Sherman makes, but I do know that we got some departments that we could probably cut back in. I don't know. And I don't think, like Teddy Ann said, the library, as far as I'm concerned, I think when you was the mayor and I was on council, that was the lowest paid thing in the city of Van Alstyne. And they, as far as I'm concerned, they do a heck of a job. They always have. I mean, we've had, what we have, 2 or 3 different librarians since when we was on there? 3 different. And I don't even know who's the head of the library now, but I know Juanita, when she come in, we done everything in the world to get her more money, because she done a heck of a job in this city. She helped this city, and I think the library right now is, I don't know really who's running it now, but I think Juanita had a whole lot to do with what's going on right now in that library.
At this time, I don't think I would increase or cut anybody till I got the full picture. You have to know what's going on. But I would want to keep my police department, make sure that we have enough protection and first responders. You know, you don't want to wait 30, 40 minutes for an ambulance to arrive at your house when you need somebody quick. You need to be going to the hospital instead of sitting there. And as far as the police department, you know, they apply for grants, they try to help themselves getting vehicles, you know, patrolling 75. You know, we're not going to get people to move in here if we start cutting those departments, because they want first responders, they want police there. They don't want to have to wait either, even though we have the sheriff's department that comes through and patrols. But I don't know, the last time I saw a sheriff's department come through town anyway. You know, Van Alstyne's on its own, basically. Thank you.
What current ordinances would you like to see changed or added?
Well, to answer that question, I'd have to know what the ordinances are. I've went on trying to find the ordinances to be able to at least review what we have on file, and I can't find it. I don't believe it's on the internet yet. I would like to, when the ordinances, when I do find out what they are and what level of critique they are, that's when I would be able to do a proper evaluation of the ordinances. I would also go to surrounding towns, find out what other ordinances are, and compare to what we have to make sure that we're not out of the ballpark on some of them, or that we're not good enough on some of them. So to answer that question, I would have to be able to review the ordinances to give a logical answer to that.
The number one ordinance I'd like to change, just so it would, like I said, it would take down some of the obstacles to new businesses coming in, especially in our downtown area, would be the one that requires the buildings that they're going to remodel for a business to have a fire sprinkler system put in. I believe we could go and do away with that and maybe come up with a commercial grade smoke detector, if you would, monitored by a security system, so that if there was an emergency there, our first responders could get there immediately, and that would be that wouldn't be a $60,000 cost. I'm sure that would be significantly a lot less. And I'd have to, and I really can't think of any other ordinances right offhand that I'd want to do away with, other than that one. But I'd want to look into all ordinances, and any ordinances that is there that denies us growth or denies businesses to come in here, they need to be restructured. Thank you.
I'm not familiar with all of the ordinances in the town. Many of them that are, I think any ordinance that's over 10 years old needs to be reviewed. I think it needs to be updated. I cannot quote a specific ordinance, but I do know that you do need to review and update them. I would also like to see a system where our citizens are more aware of the ordinances that we have enforced, because it's really hard when you start to do something and then you learn about the ordinances of what you can and cannot do. So we need a system so that we will know what those ordinances are, and if they are not beneficial to the town or the business or the citizens, then those ordinances can be changed and modified for the city of Van Alstyne. Thank you.
I too had trouble finding the ordinances. I went to the city website and discovered it says coming soon or something of that nature. And I didn't have time to go down to the city to actually look for them. I use my outside voice. What I do know, though, is I believe from asking around to city staff that I think I could be wrong in the timing, but I believe that at the beginning of 2012, our city ordinances were brought up to the standard of the state. I think that is right. And so now it's a matter of the ordinances that come before the city council, things that individual citizens want to see changed, or that they are not working for the city, that it's going to be on a case-by-case basis unless we all have access to see what those ordinances are and can review them together and decide if this is what works. And that may be something that the city council needs to take on together with the city manager and staff.
Thank you.
Well, our city codes and city ordinances in Van Alstyne, at the minimum, all meet state requirements. They're required by the state to do that. And whenever a state makes a change, they give the city a date to go through city council to acclimate that. It's very important that city council and city management does that, but I can attest that predominantly what we have in the city of Van Alstyne is mostly state minimums. You know, one of the things that was mentioned is like fire sprinklers. Unfortunately, we're tied to what the state requires us to do, and we can't change what the state makes us do. There are some things within the codes that give you some variations in that, but mostly Van Alstyne is a state minimum requirement town. There are some variations within our ordinances that we've more specific. I think we're familiar with some of the noise ordinance that just went through and stuff like that. As we grow, we do need to start making some changes for Van Alstyne to go above the state minimums to make sure that we're protecting the citizens and that are more specific to our town. So that's really going to take a look at our growth and taking a look at our master plan and seeing what things that we need to progress ordinance-wise. Thank you.
Yes, I'm not familiar with the ordinances now that we've got. I'm just familiar with some of them that we used to have back, years ago. And I know one thing we always done as a council. Number one is we talked about getting along, number one. And we was always able to work out something. I don't know whether we was breaking the law or not, but like he said, we worked out things to bring things into Van Alstyne. And and we had to do a lot of twisting. As when I was on the council to get Brahms to come in here, where it's sitting right now, and it was passed when I was on the council. And they tell me some people that's on the council now takes credit for that. And it wasn't. It was passed, and they just kept on not coming and kept getting new building permits. And it was a long time, and I've been off the council for 12 years, and it was passed when I was on the council. So, sometimes you got to work with people, and just like, I know the state requires you got to do certain things, but who do you know want to put a business in the old town area and have to start off with putting $60,000 sprinkler system in? It'd be hard for, starting off spending $60,000, you start a brand new business. You got to work with people, and the city council and EDC and CDC and all that's got to help too, and I think we can get maybe some abatements or something needs to be done to help out people that want to come in here. If it don't, we'll never get nobody in here. I don't think, not no big businesses. I really don't.
Thank you, Pat. We'll check on the statute of limitations on your other issues. We'll see about you.
Get me in jail.
Yeah. You might have to call Keith Gary, as mentioned earlier.
I'm like the rest of them, I don't know what the city ordinance are, but basically everybody's talking about a fire sprinkler. Most of those issues like that are issued by the insurance company. And if you don't abide by that, it's not really the city, it's the insurance companies that dictate those things. And if you don't have those kind of systems in there, do you really want to risk the business next door to you because you don't want to put a sprinkler system in there? You want to watch the whole downtown burn? And the only other ordinance I would want to consider personally, and I don't know how the rest of y'all feel, is the noise ordinance. Some of these people that go in the stores, got the radios going full blast, speakers bouncing in your ears. I would like to see an ordinance passed on that to try to get them. You pull up to the store, you want to go in there to do your business. You don't want to have to listen to everybody else's music or as loud as they play it. You can sit beside them sometimes on the road and you just vibrate from all the noise. Well, they got the ordinance.
During my being on the council, we passed an ordinance for animal control. I was very much involved in it. I think I'm talking loud. I'm not. Okay.
I'm not hard of hearing.
Okay. I was very much involved in that, and I tried in every way possible to get the city people involved in it. We put something in the paper. We put something out on the internet. I think they actually even sent something out with the water department, bills, just to try to get people to come to the council and express their opinion about different things. We got practically zilch in the way of response of anybody in town wanting to come and help us. So therefore, we passed animal ordinances to do what we wanted to do. The one I would like to see us add is a property maintenance type of thing. We've done this in the past. We've worked on it some. We keep changing it over and over again. One of the important things is for bringing people into a town and bringing additional industry into a town is the town look nice. Be cleaned up and look nice. You can't have trash things sitting on your downtown area and not being cleaned up. They've got that now taken care of somewhat. But you got to do things that result in cleaning up the town and making it look nice. If you get that, then you're going to be better off. As far as everybody not being able to see what's on the ordinances, there's a thing called, I think it's called a codicil, where you actually go out and have a company, you hire a company for about $25,000 to go out and take all your ordinances, verify they don't correct each other, that they don't have things that don't fit, and they put them all together in a nice way that you can put them out on the internet, and now everybody can see their stuff. We've never voted in any of the budget things, that's never been important. I think it's always been important, but we just, hard to come up with $25,000 to do it. And, back to the sprinkler system, just as David said, if you look at the town of Ennis, a number of years back, they had a fire in their downtown area. They had a nice downtown area. They only have about half of a downtown area now because they had fire and it spread to every building on that side, behind it, another block over. They took about, half of their downtown area away. That's why you have to have sprinkler systems. I know it's not something you ought to pay for, but we work with, as I've heard from some people that are owners of property, we work with them in every way possible to make it as cheap as they can possibly do it. To where we provide them, better service on the water, cut the rates on the water so that they don't have to keep paying for it, stuff like that, so that we try to cooperate with them so that they won't get stuck with everything. So we're trying to help the business out, and I know that's a big expense to them, but that's just a part of being in an old building in an old town. But they went to build a new building, the new bank building they built out there, it had to have a fire sprinkler system in it. All those things still have to be in a new building. It's no difference in building up an old building or building a new one. You still got to do the same things. Thank you.
And he's talking about Ennis somewhere had a
Would you
fire.
like to rebuttal? Is that what you want to say?
Yeah, rebuttal.
I don't know, I've got to check,
Very brief.
Well, I'm gonna be very brief. A lot of these people I'm looking at right now, we have fire downtown Alstyne. I don't know whether you was here or not, but we had one downtown, and we done a pretty good job of that sprinkler system. And I think a lot of these citizens here will tell you that we had one, right there by the drugstore and stuff, a lot of that caught on fire, and our fire department put it out.
Do you believe that you will have the time to work effectively in the position you are running for, and can you get off work to attend important meetings?
That's a very good question for me, and I understand the concern with that. That's true, I travel, and I travel abroad, I'll go up all over the United States and Canada. However, if I'm elected, I can go over and start working in the factory at Peterbilt. I have that option, I have been there 14 years, I have high seniority, so that's what, for my case, yes, I'll be home. In July the 1st, we do a bid change, and I will go in the shop, so to speak.
Yes, I do have the time. I am retired, and therefore I do have the time to spend, the time that is needed to spend to be a mayor and to do the travel time to the county and the city, and would enjoy doing that very much.
Yes, no offense to Teddy answer, but I don't believe it means that you have to be retired or independently wealthy to serve as the mayor of Van Alstyne. I'm an investment advisor. I'm an investment advisor, and I can flex my schedule. I have actually been doing that while I have been running for this office, and I'll do whatever it takes to be a good mayor of Van Alstyne.
3 years ago, I started working around Van Alstyne, and I do a lot of volunteer work and stuff in Van Alstyne, and I make time for everything that I choose to take on, and I do my best at it, and I believe that I can still do that here.
Yes, I've always had time. For 19 years, I missed 2 meetings. So I'll have plenty of time. I'll make time. And that's when I was working. I don't work now.
Yes, I will. I have time. I have a full-time job. I work from home. I can take any day off I want, set my own hours. I can be there in a moment's call if I'm around here. If not, I can come home from Dallas. I'm here.
I'm retired, but I do have a big honey-do list.
Well, so I will elaborate on that.
But I've told my wife her list goes past the city, so I'm okay. I've been doing it for 4 years, so I'm okay.
Yes, I have the opportunity to be able to take off anytime I like. I was fortunate enough that my company is full support of me running for office, and that they back me on anything that I need to do, and so I'll be able to take off anytime I need to.
Okay, we're down to What is your position on maintaining Van Alstyne's professional police department?
I'm very much for our police department, very supportive of it, and I think they do an excellent job. And I cannot even imagine where we would be if we did not have our police department that we have today.
I believe that citizen safety is of utmost importance, and I completely support our police department, the number of officers we have, and hope that over time that will grow.
If we want to keep our professional police department, we want to support Tim Barnes,
Yes.
because he's been the anchor in this police department, the professionalism that they possess. He is, I tell you, I've worked with a lot of different police chiefs. A lot of them can be very cocky about who they are. Tim Barnes is very personable. He will sit down with anybody, and just like he's one of us. And I think that's what exemplifies the professionalism that this police department, it comes from the leadership. So we need to support him and the job that he's doing.
Thank you.
You can hear me, right?
I can hear you.
I was one of the ones that helped hire Tim Barnes. Tim Barnes is a personal friend of mine, not only a police officer, but a personal friend of mine, and I think he's doing a heck of a job. And I'm gonna do everything in my power to help him like I've always done. The only thing I'm mad at Tim about is when we hired Tim, we wanted him to be chief, but he wouldn't take it because another guy had seniority on him. So I'm just proud to Dickens that he's the chief now. I mean, you know what I'm saying.
Thank you.
I think we need to keep our police department and have them increase, be better. I'm a 17-year veteran as a police officer. I've known Tim when he was a rookie, and you, Robert Spindle. I, at one time, was chief of police here. Had to fight with the city council just to get my officers to go to school and train them. Now the state requires the officers to have 40 hours of training every 2 years. If you don't keep that training up, you lose your certification. And when you lose your certification, you lose a good qualified officer, because then you have to hire another one to take his place. And you don't know what you're getting when you've already had a good officer. Why lose him? Yes, we have to support Tim Barnes. He's been a friend of mine, like I said, since he was a rookie. He'll always be my friend.
Billy?
I'm all in favor of supporting our police department. They've done an excellent job. Tim Barnes is an excellent police chief. I also agree with the same thing for our fire department and paramedics. They're outstanding paramedics. They get a lot of training. They get a lot of practice because of all the work that they do. And we run so many ambulances. If you ever have to use them and they come to your house, it's really neat to have 2 paramedics and a policeman standing there outside your house trying to take care of anything they need to take care of for you. And every time we've ever called him, that's the way it's always been. They offer a full-time service. They're all courteous, all thoughtful, all try to handle everything in the best manner they can. So I couldn't be more thrilled with each and every one of them, so I want to keep them forever.
Billy?
I'm full for our police department. As I said earlier, that is one of the reasons why I came to Van Alstyne, because of the reputation of the police department. They're go-getters, they're very courteous, they do a great job, and I could see complete harm in our growth of our town if we was to ever do anything to our police department that would hinder that.
Thank you.
Yeah, a police department is definitely a big necessity in any city. You gotta have them for all types of stuff. Yeah, I'm definitely pro. I think Tim's a good guy, and I think he does a good job, and I think the police department has really improved in about the last 2 or 3 years, and I think it's on a positive track. Yeah, I support the current police department, no doubt.
As Adam ended talking, that is all the questions we had tonight. And for all of you who came tonight, and for those who serve on the city council currently, thank you all for being here. But I think everybody needs to recognize this group for the job they did and their honest answers. So.